is the good life.
Brings us into AI music. Now, granted, I have not dug into this. And
I know nothing about AI music. I didn't even know it existed till you just told me now.
I have a musician friend who is really freaking amazing. His name is Chris Baggs. He makes music for all kinds of big productions, and I want to get his opinion, so I'm going to ask him to record his audio right here.
I'm going to try really hard not to curse. Fingers crossed there. So my name is Chris. I usually go under Chris Baggs Music. I write and release music under that. I co-write and produce for other artists, mixing, mastering. I do a lot of sync licensing, a bunch of placements for like Netflix, TBS, MTV, Oxygen. I think there was one on NBC, just a lot of random stuff. But the thing I do for all of that is I write, play, record, mix, master, produce all of that music. So from start to finish. They wanted my take on AI and how it goes into all that stuff. Don't really subscribe to a right or wrong thing when it comes to music. It's an art, right? So like, I think there are certain things that are better, obviously. And there's probably certain things that like 90% of people that do it think is the right thing to do. So it's always hard to say right or wrong. So when it comes to this, I don't think it's really any different. There's so many uses for it. One of the things that I actually really like and that I've used in the past is how some of AI has changed like music production. There's a lot of great companies that make really good plugins. The first one that always comes to mind is Mastering the Mix, but they do a ton of like audio analysis plugins, and those are fantastic. So for that stuff, I love it. There's so much stuff in making music today that's not actual being done, right? Like I do string arrangements. I don't play violin. I don't play cello. I play piano, guitar, bass, percussion, but I don't play any orchestral instruments. And I know that's not really AI, but it's kind of the idea of doing things that you don't really know how to do. Yes, I'm still playing it, but it's not the real instrument. And I could be robbing a violin player of a gig, right? Of a studio gig. When I think of one of the ways that can be used where it's actually creating a song. If you're like a lyricist or vocalist, you just don't happen to play an instrument, but you understand music and you want help crafting the song, like, okay, I mean, is that any different than like a chord generator or chord progression generator or whichever? So there's like a ton of gray area, at least that I see. What I don't like the idea of is a corporation being able to create from start to finish an entire song without enlisting the assistance of any musicians at all, because they could just saturate the industry with thousands and thousands of songs and see what hits. Like, right? Like they have the means to do that and distribute it. And they could, in theory, maybe 2 of them hit. And you go, okay, you know what? We're going to take these 2 songs and we're going to build more like it. And we're going to hire artists to perform them and basically form a band after the music was created, which has happened many a times, right? Like songwriters all the time have written songs and then put together pieces of bands, like, you know, from singing competitions, from just, you know, open calls. And then that band takes that music and performs it and people just associate it. But this is even weirder because like this would actually be out there with people playing it and vocal sounds and voices people would have already consumed and enjoyed and become a fan of without really having human to associate with it until after, which I guess I don't think this has happened yet, but it's just something that I would think could happen. Probably going to happen because that's what happens with this stuff. Artists that still play and write their own music and stuff, you just differentiate yourself like anything else. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I will be considered old school maybe, that I think, you know, that art should be created by people. So great uses, like learning tools, stuff like that. Oh, there is one thing I absolutely do not like. I do not like using it to recreate people's voices and do things that they've never done. I think that's weird. Maybe I saw one was John Lennon singing Black Hole Sun. Kind of creepy, unnecessary. I don't know if any of that is helpful, insightful. Frankly, I'm just kind of ignoring it a little bit and just kind of going about the business. I'm going to go back to my normal stream now. So thanks to Eo7 Media for asking me to do this, even caring about my opinion. Thank you for that. Now I'm going to say the word just so I can hear it later get bleeped out. So hopefully that actually happens.